In a statement, Attorney General Merrick Garland said the DOJ had charged Yahya Sinwar and other senior Hamas leaders of financing, directing, and overseeing a decades-long campaign to murder American citizens and endanger the national security of the United States.
Justice Department unsealed charges against Yahya Sinwar and other senior leaders of Hamas for financing and directing a decades-long campaign to murder American citizens and endanger the security of the United States. As outlined in our complaint, those defendants, armed with weapons, political support, and funding from the government of Iran and support from Hezbollah, have led Hamas's efforts to destroy the state of Israel and murder civilians in support of that aim. In its attacks over the past 3 decades, Hamas has murdered or injured thousands of civilians, including dozens of American citizens.
6 defendants, 3 of whom are deceased. Those living include Yahya Sinwar, who is believed to be hiding underground in Gaza, Khalid Mashal, who is based in Doha and heads the group's diaspora office, and Ali Baraka, a senior Hamas official based in Lebanon. Among the deceased, Hamas's former political leader Ismail Haniyeh, assassinated in Tehran in July. Military commander Mohammed al-Masri, who Israel says was killed in a July airstrike, and Marwan Issa, a deputy military commander killed in a March strike. The complaint was initially filed under seal in February, but only made public this week.
In the early morning hours of October 7th of last year, Hamas, led by these defendants, committed its most violent, large-scale terrorist attack to date. During the attack, Hamas terrorists murdered civilians who tried to flee and those who sought refuge in bomb shelters. They murdered entire families. They murdered the elderly, and they murdered young children. They weaponized sexual violence against women. On October 7th, Hamas terrorists murdered nearly 1,200 people, including over 40 Americans, and kidnapped hundreds of civilians. They perpetrated the deadliest massacre of Jews since the Holocaust.
The AG also said they continue to investigate the murder of Hersh Goldberg Poland, the 23-year-old American Israeli among 6 hostages killed by Palestinian militants just days ago.
We are investigating Hersh's murder and each and every one of the brutal murders of Americans as acts of terrorism. We will continue to support the whole-of-government effort to bring the Americans still being held hostage home. The charges unsealed today are just one part of our effort to target every aspect of Hamas's operations. These actions will not be our last. The Justice Department has a long memory. We will pursue the terrorists responsible for murdering Americans and those who illegally provide them with material support for the rest of their lives.
Hamas's leader Sinwar is also a target of the ICC prosecutor, who is seeking his arrest warrant for alleged war crimes committed since October 7th, including Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. The indictment provides the first indication of U.S. efforts to hold Hamas accountable for its actions directed at hundreds of civilians, including dozens of American citizens. But the move is seen as largely symbolic, given that Sinwar is believed to be hiding and remains a main target for Israel as it seeks to recover its hostages in Gaza. The move comes amid a sensitive period regarding the long-standing hostage for ceasefire negotiations, with mediators including the US, Qatar and Egypt expected to make a take-it-or-leave-it proposal to both sides this week, as hopes of a deal appear increasingly slim, with dire consequences for the millions of Palestinians trapped in Gaza. Shervin Brycebees, SABC News, New York.